So those of you who've never seen the inside of your L322 dashboards and all of the crap that accumulates underneath that switchgear. So this is 10 years of spilt coffee, Coke, who the heck knows, but something has definitely been spilt through the cup holders. Inside of here you can just see the years of accumulated crisps, dust, and who the heck knows what this is, but this is pretty disgusting. It's, as you can see in there, that's not good, is it? So it took about 10 minutes to get this out. So there are two Torx boot, the side panels come off quite easy. You just pull these trims up. There are two Torx 20 heads on either side of this main panel. Once you get the side panel out, you can run a screwdriver in to lift this bottom panel out here, and there are two excuse me, T20 Torx heads in there, and then the glove box, two Torx 20 heads on either side of here, and then the glove box will pop out. So why am I doing this? I need to get access to this ashtray to put the new one in. That's held on by about 4 Torx bolts. Once that's in, I can feed the cable for my Easylift system down through the cubby box and out through the back under the carpet to the back of the unit, which is sitting in the load space. But first, I think we're going to give this a good clean. Just so you know, I use these to get everything out, so don't use screwdrivers, especially on the trim work, you'll scratch it. But these come, you can get these off of Amazon, really cheap. I've already took the end of one of these off. But these are really cheap, but they make life a heck of a lot easier, and they don't damage any of your trim work. So here's my replacement ashtray. This was second hand, but I gave it a thorough clean. And here is the jog dial for the Easylift. Now what I did with this is I basically took out I guess it was a cigarette lighter, put a panel in place, and then put this jog dial in. And the reason why I had to do it again is this was built, the Easylift kit was built for the L320, Range Rover Sport and Discovery 3s and 4s, and their air suspension ECU is under here, which makes putting an extension cable to the control panel and everything inside of the center cubby a lot easier. So they didn't put an extension kit for this dial for the L322. So basically soldering in a new part of the loom on 10 core. Took about 2 hours to do, and it does work because I've tested it all, which is good. So anyway, this is going in 4 Torx 20 bolts, and then I'll put all this back in, and then we'll see if we can test it all out. But anyway, that's what's involved in doing all of this. It looks like a mess, but another 10 or 15 minutes we'll put it all back together. So scratch that. This is the second-hand ashtray that I bought. And my plan was to put the Easylift module into here. So I'd spent probably about 20 minutes dremeling out where the 12-volt lighter plug was, enforced it with a plastic 20mm drilled hole in the back, super glued it together, and then put the jog dial in. As you saw from the previous video, this was going into the center console up against the cubby box. Unfortunately, in Land Rover's infinite wisdom, this doesn't fit a 2010 center console. It doesn't line up. So there are 4 Torx bolts that go into this, and there's also a place where it lines up here and lines up here. And as you can see, I've gone at this to try and get it to line up properly, and it will not line up. So the only thing I can think of, the part numbers are the same, is that they made a modification from 2010 when they had a stick shift that you basically put it into park and went to the jog dial. The only thing I can think of is that they made some modifications to the way this is held together. Now this would fit, and in the video that you see previously, a couple of seconds or minutes before this will fit, meaning it will fit into that aperture. The problem is that won't open. I have tried absolutely everything, and the cut from the video that you didn't see was a horrendous amount of swearing because it wouldn't fit. I actually put the whole of that console back in place, tried to hit this, and it wouldn't open, and figured I'd done something wrong. I took it apart 2 or 3 times and could not get it to fit. So this is now scrap, unless anybody wants it. It's free of charge. So what I've done now is relocated where this jog dial is going to be into the cubby box. And I'll show you how I went and did that. I was just beyond frustration at that point that I didn't record it, but I will show you what it looks like right now. So this is plan B. Here is the jog dial for the Easylift kit. This is now going where the 12-volt plug was. So I've put this in, rewired everything back up. It works. This here, if you can see that, that is going to be for the Navi Plus system, which is getting installed. And the reason why this is not back in is it's going to come out anyway, because that will be eliminated, because I won't need to be able to put this bovie in here as well. And they're going to put a couple of USBs in here as well. So this is where it got relocated. The reality is that's still there. This is where the problem is, behind the back here. And I think what they did was, this is different. And although it may look the same, underneath here where this lines up is different. And that's why it won't fit. So although this does what it's supposed to do, in theory I could have gone in here and dremelled this out. I simply could not be bothered. I'd had enough of it and basically just threw the towel in and figured I'd just carry on doing what I'm doing now. So it's all in. I'm pretty happy with it. Jog dial works. Going off-road, the reality is when you touch this dial to move it up and down, and obviously it's only going to be really up to get some more lift, it's just a case of dropping up this the cubby box lid and getting access to it. So there you go, that's in. Now I'll show you what it looks like with the control through the app, and then we'll cut to that and you'll see all this in action. So this is an overview of the Easylift app. So you've already seen through the installation video, pretty straightforward to do. Once you have it configured, which is a case of just putting in the serial number, it finds the device, choose your car, clearly mine's a Land Rover, Range Rover L322. It comes up with these options and it gives you the ability to be able to select neutral option. You've got plus 35, which will confirm a height change, and off it will go. And you can see there is others here. There's plus 55, plus 70. There is the neutral, which is normal height. And then you can go much lower. If you watch the installation of the roof rack, I actually put it to minus 30, which had it down on its bump stops, which made it a lot easier for my dad and I, he's in his 80s, to be able to lift that roof rack up and pop it on the top. I also think it's going to be pretty good for getting into car parks as well, especially when you've got things like a roof rack on the top, probably pushing it to get a rooftop tent into a car park, but we'll see. The other 3 options are, there is a service option which allows this to go and have itself aligned. Now how this works I don't know, but apparently if you put this on a high lift ramp, get all the wheels off the ground and hit service, it takes you into the option to align all of your corners. We'll see if that works. I'm probably going to take it in a couple of weeks' time. I'm going to get my mechanic to have a go at that. Low mode actually sets it to minus 30 when you're putting it onto a load truck. Hopefully that won't happen with this. And then the really cool one is level. So the vehicle goes into standard height, which we'll put it in. So if we go to standard height, which is normal, then the vehicle will sort of level itself out. It will get to neutral mode, then it will level itself out. So if we go to level and apply it, what happens now is it will self-level itself. So it's now telling me the suspension is in extend mode, and it's telling me the suspension is moving itself to normal mode, and now it's going to self-leveling. So the back is coming up, and the front is slightly going down. I'm on a hill, I did it deliberately. I can hear the compressor, and now we're level. I can actually feel it, we're level. Now I know it's difficult for me to tell you that we're level without seeing on the outside, but I can tell you we're in level. So the vehicle's leveled itself out, which is good. So that's that mode, which I'm really looking forward to, because if you've ever slept in a car, in a rooftop tent, on a car, and it's not level, it's one of the most uncomfortable feelings that you could possibly have. So anyway, these are the settings. I have had a question about running this if you've got the gap tool and you've set it to a different height. What happens with the gap tool is the gap tool, you set it across all three settings that you have with the car. So access mode, normal mode, and extended mode, if you set it for 2 inches, all three of those modes go to 2 inches. So I could use the gap tool to do it, but I'm not going to do that because this pushes this way past what I believe the bags will take as far as air. So if you look at plus 70 millimeters plus another 2 to 3 inches, it's going to push it well past 5 inches, which I just don't think is worth doing. But anyway, it's leveled, it's all working, but this is a version of the app. Other thing that it has is, just like you do on the dashboard, it will show you where your wheels are relatively to the ground, and you can see right there the self-leveling mode. The ones on the back are further down than the ones on the front, which is pretty cool. Anyway, so that is the Easylift kit. That's the app. I'll quickly show you where I put the jog dial. Everything that you can do on the app, you can do with the jog dial. It's just a case of having to sort of reach into and turn it, but I'll show you what that looks like. So over to the jog dial. So as I mentioned before, I had some problems trying to get this installed in the glove box. And so what I did was I put this module, which does exactly the same as the app does. It's just on a controller like this. And you just get used to pressing it and controlling it. So these settings and these lights, which hopefully you can see, indicate whether it's going up or down. And then what you do is you press the center button and it goes green and it flashes and it goes to where it's supposed to go. I've got to get used to this, but you can see it flashes quite well. But again, when it goes and flashes, it will do what it's supposed to do. So the vehicle is now leveling itself, which is quite interesting. Let me just show you what it's up to. So hopefully you can see that. You can see how the vehicle has put itself into self-leveling mode. That's pretty cool. So now it's on access mode, which is self-leveled itself, and it's put itself level. So anyway, there's the dial. It's flashing because it is in self-level mode. So to get out of that, you basically have to turn it anti-clockwise, hit the button, and it should go off. There you go. Now it's flashing and it's going to go back and doing what it's supposed to do, back into its normal height mode. And I can hear the compressor kicking on to do that. So that's the jog dial, all in, all installed. Great bit of kit. The reason again why I put it in here is because the ashtray wouldn't fit. So it was just a case of putting a spacer on the back and then just installing it in. So that's good to go. So that's the Easylift module for you. It's installed, it's running. I like it. Talk to you soon.